Mark Connolly and Rick Ray are registered representatives and financial advisors with Park Avenue Securities, a registered broker deal and investment advisor. The information you will hear on this show is for information purposes only, and individual situations vary. The information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice.
Do you think there are forces out there that are keeping you from achieving your financial goals? Deep in your heart, do you believe the game may be rigged against you? If you do, you need to listen to Big Money, Big Daddy with Mark Connolly and Rick Ray. They'll teach you how to avoid Big Daddy's wealth-destroying tactics. The Big Money, Big Daddy show starts right now.
All right, welcome to the Big Money, Big Daddy show this Thursday afternoon. We hope that everybody's week has been cruising along really good and you're getting excited about the weekend because we've got an exciting show for you today. We're going to have some interesting conversations as we had the coaching session just a week ago that was an absolutely fabulous session, and we were talking about the 7 deadly mistakes that investors make. And so we had a great room. We did it over at Perry's. Everybody was there. We had investors. We had some people that were checking us out for the first time, and it was a good mix of people. And we really we did a deep dive into some of the mistakes that have been made, and had discussions about, what will be the next big mistake? What's in the future out there in the investment world, and how can we prepare ourselves mentally, number one, but prepare ourselves from a standpoint of making sure the portfolios are built properly. And so I'm here with my business partner Dale Pieper, and we're gonna kind of jump into some things here that I think will give you the information that we were able to talk about. We'll get on as much of it as we possibly can, because that is what we are about at Wealth Design Group. At the end of the day, sometimes I think about it and the way our firm operates, and the way we make profits obviously is getting assets under management, but really that's kind of a byproduct. We found that if we help our investors achieve a lifelong game plan that gives them more certainty, not less, that's built on math and science and evidence-based investing instead of what I would call sometimes just luck. I know other people may not call it luck. They'll put a nice name on it, but a lot of times I think in the investment world it is. And we have found that there is a way to have a systematic way of doing a financial plan, making sure that you're handling the 3 key elements, which is going to be the elements of protection, number one. I mean, you need to make sure that you have eradicated exposures that you have to financial threats. One of those financial threats will be some of the 7 mistakes that we're going to talk about on the show today, because they are deadly mistakes and they can cost you. And it's important that we educate our investors on what those are and how to recognize them when they pop up again, because they never pop up exactly the same. I mean, sometimes they do, and we'll go into that too. But protection, organization. Guess what? You should actually have a financial plan that looks at your cash flow now, what your cash flow is in the future, because you want to make sure that you maximize cash flow. You want to make sure you've looked at college planning. If you've got debts, what is your attack strategy to get rid of that debt as fast as possible? Do you have an online model that keeps track of everything you're doing, no matter where it's at, so that you can stay on track? That's the other element. And the final element is the investment element. Do you have a plan that's based on luck, or a plan that gives you a higher degree of, or more certainty, I should say, because it's an uncertain world. Anything can happen. You can lose money. You can make money. There is no guarantees when it comes to money you're taking some risk with. But is there a way that you can get the maximum return for that level of risk and put yourself in the best position to accomplish that? I mean, that's those are the areas that we work with our clients in, and kind of bringing that back. I think that it's good to know that the way we go about it, we found, is education. That's why we do these live coaching events, because we want to empower our clients with knowledge so that they know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and they know how to react when all the crazy things in this world happen. And that's a different way of going about it than I think a lot of financial firms do. It's an empowering strategy. I see out there all too often, it's, you have these investment firms that say they have some kind of secret that, it's the secret black box that they've got, how to invest the money. They're not going to tell you. And I think, in my opinion, it's because they don't really know either, and they're just hoping that they get lucky. I'm not saying that's true of every firm by any means. There's some good ones out there. I just have, in my personal experience and the statements that I've looked at, the thousands of hours I've logged in, the 20 years that I've been doing this, the expertise as a CFP, I just see the same old stuff over and over and over. And I ask my clients all the time, hey, what's the strategy that's being used here? I don't know. Whatever my advisor says. They pick a bunch of stuff and they put it in there, and, this might have worked, or, that might not have. And, every now and then it works really well. But I just think if someone is making an educated guess at best of where to put money, when to put it in the market, when to take it out, which funds to pick, which stocks to pick, I just think that even if they get it right, sometimes over a long haul, that type of strategy will fail. And in fact, that's supported by the Standard & Poor's report that comes out every year that shows only 20 to 30% of these so-called brilliant money managers actually just beat the market as a whole. So, when I look at that, I'm like, well, number one, you'd be better off just buying the market. Number two, are there some ways, though, to get some enhanced returns, or we call them premium returns, in the market? Are there some ways that definitely could destroy? You bet there are. And those are the types of things that we want to make sure that Dale and I cover in the show today. So I do want to make sure that everyone's aware of our next upcoming event, because last Thursday we had a packed house, and yes, it was even when the Texans were playing. So I was amazed. People wanted to, before that, they still wanted to catch most of the game.
I saw them sneaking on their phones. They were checking the score.
But we typically have it start at 6:30, and we've got everybody generally out of there with the information they need by 8 o'clock. So it works well. And we've got our next one. Let's see. When is the next one?
It is going to be on October 20th, and that's going to be at Papados. So we're going to mix it up. We're going to have some good Cajun seafood. So definitely, if you want to attend that event, text the word daddy to 72727. You can text the word daddy to 72727. You can also call us at 713-826-0426. You can also visit our website at wealthdesigngroup.net. And there we'll have instructions on how to get registered for that next event, which we will be talking about since it's Halloween. So it's kind of a little spooky, not really spooky, but, we thought it would be a good presentation for the month of October. And so the title is Your Money Manager a Sociopath?
Oh!
So we're definitely, it's going to be good education that we always try to bring, but we're definitely, we always try to make it fun. You go to a lot of these workshops or, even radio shows, right? So it's what we talk about sometimes is not the most fun things to talk about. So we definitely try to make it somewhat humorous and make it fun and educational all at the same time.
Yeah, and it's a serious topic. I get it. It's Halloween, and you need to know if your money's a money manager is a sociopath, right? But the reality of the things we're going to be covering are very serious topics, because if you've ever seen the TV show American Greed, or you've heard of Madoff, which I think everybody has, or locally here Stanford, and you see all these stories about these sociopaths that created a lot of damage, but there's a lot of smaller stories that you may have had some smaller experience of money that was maybe not just outright stolen, but mismanaged? Are there things that you can do and put in place to prevent that from happening to you, or to double check the sources that you are getting information from? And we're going to talk about how you go about doing that. We think that we need to have an open book. And I realize it's a crazy conversation sometimes for a financial advisor to have, because number one, we're even bringing it up because, what are people going to think? They're going to be like, well, hold on a second. Are you the sociopath?
Yeah.
I get that, but we're not scared of meaningful conversations that matter to people. You need to come to these coaching events. So make sure that you're RSVPing.
And we're not scared to tell you, the real truth. We're not afraid to give you the answers in those presentations. It's kind of like what Mark was saying. A lot of times people don't want to give you the answers because they want to get you to their presentation so they can sell you something, right? You will never be sold anything at our presentations. It is just all about the education. Obviously, yes, if you want to set up a consultation with us after the fact, that's fine. But really, it's come get the information, and hopefully it's either going to reinforce what you're doing is already, you're doing the right things already, and if not, well then, yeah, let's have a conversation and see how we might be able to improve things.
Absolutely. I mean, we just looked to last week, and we were hitting on some great topics that we'll touch on the radio today. A lot of, number one, we were talking about people always want this American dream, and they want this abundant retirement. But the reality is most people aren't going to achieve it. So I want to dive into some real numbers and help you understand the problem that is before most of you out there that are listening. Okay? I want to give you 3 strategies that will help you have an abundant retirement. And then we want to make sure we hit on those 7 investing mistakes that they could totally threaten all the dreams that you have about an abundant retirement. And many of you, as we go through them, they've already threatened that retirement. But the key here is, hey, what's done is done. Let's recognize it for what it is, and let's get moving forward. Because no matter what has happened to you, you're still alive and kicking, so you need to prepare for the future. And let's focus on the now. And, I know when people talk about retirement, they're always talking about, what's the lifestyle going to be? You've all seen the pictures, right? You're on the beach and you're holding hands with your spouse and
playing golf.
And, it makes me think about retirement and what maybe it once was, and how different it is, because I always think of like retirement in the old days was, maybe like the TV show Mad Men. But it's very different now. Now you've actually got to save and invest your money, because you used to have the big company pension plan, and that coupled with Social Security was going to give you the type of retirement that you wanted. Well, now, all the companies have been changing their model. And they're not offering, very rarely we'll look at some data on that, but most companies aren't offering a pension plan at all. Everybody knows, right? You're listening. You got a 401k. They might match some. I've even seen a lot of them are just taking out the match altogether.
Right. Well, especially in Houston, with what's going on with oil, you see that happen in times like then, where they may adjust that match down to compensate what's going on in the oil industry. So that's not unlikely to see those things, but the pressure is definitely on us as the investor nowadays to make sure that we're taking care of our retirement, prior to like the good old days where you just worked for this company for 30, 40 years and you retire with this nice pension and everything was fine and dandy.
Yep. 76%, according to bankrate.com, I'm looking at some stats on retirement here. 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, with most households having over $15,000 in debt. The trend is just incredible when you look at how many companies have dropped their pension plans. They've put in 401k plans. In fact, in 2015, according to Aon Hewitt, it was 78% of companies consider what's called a defined contribution, which is like a 401k type plan. That's their primary vehicle. And 70% of all retirees have less than $100,000 saved. That may be you. And sometimes I think that's why you see the stats like, 2/3 are not confident in, being able to have their ideal retirement. 97% of people, they're just not saving enough, and they're planning for this scarcity. And we don't think that that has to be the case. And we think that we've got strategies that you can deploy that will bring you to the point where you don't have to have that scarcity attitude. You can have that abundance. And that's what we're going to cover in the segments to come. We're going to teach you some very specific strategies where you don't have to be, even if you are one of these stats right now, so be it. That's what you are. We're going to change that. Now, if you want to get real serious, yes, you need to listen to the next segment, but you need to sign up for our next coaching October 20th at 6:30 in the evening at Papados, where we're going to tell you how to make sure people aren't stealing or mismanaging your money. Do you want to know about that? Then you just need to give us a call at 713-826-0426 or text DADDY to 72727.
Big money, big daddy.